Good morning. My name is Lori Alexander, and I want to talk today about giving health advice if you're not a medical doctor, because I have researched health almost my entire life. When I was 5 years old, my mother got ulcerative colitis. She went to the doctors. My dad was a doctor. He wanted her to go to the doctor. And the doctor said she'll have to live on white bread and white flour and white stuff and just take steroids and try to monitor it. And my mom tried that and she just got sicker and sicker. So she decided to go a different route. She went to a health retreat where they just put her on freshly squeezed vegetable and fruit juices. First of all, she fasted on water for, I think it was about 40 days. And then she was put on raw vegetable and fruit juices. And then slowly they incorporated organic foods into her diet. And while she was fasting, her colon completely healed. She was no longer in pain. It was no longer bleeding. And she felt fantastic. She came home and she ate a hot dog and immediately was as sick as a dog. So she learned that she couldn't eat hot dogs. And through trial and error for many years, she figured out what she could and she couldn't eat. And she eventually completely healed herself of ulcerative colitis. I asked my dad recently, he thought it was about 7 years, and 5 to 7 years. It seemed like as a child it was forever, but he would remember better than I. So she went to the doctors and had a colonoscopy because she wanted to prove to them that she was completely healed, because they said there was no way to ever heal ulcerative colitis. And they took a colonoscopy, and sure enough, it was completely healed. Jordan Rubin, the Maker's Diet, had the same experience. He was able to completely heal himself of ulcerative colitis. So once she was healed, we grew up on organic fruits and vegetables. And when we were sick, she would give us lemon honey water. And she'd always believed in the best way to stay healthy was to boost the immune system. So I was raised that way on organic foods, and my grandmother was the same way. My grandmother believed that drugs, doctors, and demons were all the same. I don't. I believe that doctors and drugs, there's a good purpose for them at times. In emergency situations, I wouldn't be alive without doctors and drugs. So I believe in emergency situations, and for some chronic conditions like diabetes ones, they're excellent. But for long-term staying healthy, I think it's up to each individual to try to stay as healthy as they can by boosting their immune system and doing all that they can to stay healthy. So I've researched it my whole entire life, and no, I'm not a doctor, but I feel like from my experience and from what I saw through my mom and myself, being able to heal myself of many things that the doctors said, like UTIs, bladder infections, what else? Sinus infections and acid reflux, that they always give drugs for antibiotics. I've been able to heal myself through researching. I'll research Google people who have been able to heal themselves of sinus infections and start doing whatever they did, because I didn't want to take drugs, because I know antibiotics and drugs destroy your gut. And I believe that Hippocrates wrote, the father of modern medicine, wrote that health begins and ends in the gut. It's our food that either nourishes us or it destroys our health. And so I think that's where good health begins, in what we eat. And this is what they even figured out with this virus, is that those who are dying are those who are in ill health, who haven't taken care of their health. The majority of them, not all of them, there are some healthy people dying, but we are responsible for how we live our lives. I don't believe in using hand sanitizer, Lysol, Clorox. All of those are highly toxic. I believe in eating healthy, just using hot water and soap, using hydrogen peroxide or vinegar and water and a little squirt of non-toxic soap to clean. I don't use anything toxic in my house to clean or anything else. And I think it's much healthier for our bodies. And I think our kids need to be raised without all the vaccinations and all the fast food, all the chemicals in the home. In fact, they say that the air inside your home is worse than the air outside. So it's good to have your windows open as much as possible. I always sleep with the window open, unless it's freezing cold out, but that's rare here. We go outside and we're in the sunshine and we get vitamin D a lot, and we exercise every day. We do the best that we can. Yes, I have a brain tumor. It's not cancer, but it could kill me eventually. But there's no guarantees in life. You can eat perfectly, do everything perfectly, and still get cancer and die. But over 600,000 people a year die of cancer. So the treatment that is being offered cancer patients isn't highly successful at all. The key for fighting cancer is to live as cancer-free life as you can. Eat organic foods, stay away from toxic chemicals, and do everything in your own power to fight it. But then we leave the results with the Lord. We live in a toxic, sick-filled world, and we're all gonna die someday. But I think the Lord gave us wisdom. I think we should eat food the way He created for us to eat it. Man destroys it by overly processing it, adding a bunch of chemicals that aren't even food to it. Even men's sperm count is dramatically dropping from the soy, the estrogens that they're not to be consuming. Steady health, no health. Doctors aren't taught a lot about health, but we should know how to keep our families healthy. Women, as keepers of the home, we should cook as much of our food from scratch. I have a lot of videos on on this channel of how to make homemade sourdough bread, all my family tested recipes, videos about health. Study health, research it. I recommend going to Weston A. Price site and studying that. It's worth it. You just feel a lot better. I mean, we might die tomorrow, get hit by a car, but at least while we're living, we feel good. And that's important. And just it's a lot easier to be joyful when you feel good. I know it's really hard to be joyful and cheerful when you're feeling poorly all the time. So yes, I'm not a doctor, but I have lived 61 years, been sick for 30 of those years, so I know a lot about healing ourselves through natural means. Yes, I needed doctors in emergency situations, and I'm extremely thankful for them. But I think we need to take responsibility for our health. Health isn't found in a vaccination or a drug or anything else. I think it's found in what God created us: sunshine, fresh air, organic foods, getting good night's sleeps, and exercise. Do the best you can, women. Enjoy the good life that the Lord has given you, because every good and perfect gift is from Him. Love those children. Take the best care of them that you can, but remember them, remind yourself that they are the Lord's. And we will all go to be with Him one day. This life is a blip, eternity is forever. Remember to keep that perspective. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.